One, two, mic check, mic check, mic check. Peace to the family. All right, so we got much to talk about today. I want to say thank you for everybody that has been supporting. This is the first official broadcast from Charlotte, North Carolina, or the North Carolina move. I want to say thank you to everybody that has been supporting. We have much to talk about today. We're going to talk about the 31 nodes, the Arcana apocalypse. What's that about? We're also going to talk about the Third Eye Atlas. Oh man, it's about to go crazy. I want to say thank you. Thank you so much. I feel so blessed. I feel so great to be here at this moment to share some inspiration, joy, love, as well as some knowledge. If you're in a place to be, state your name, put it in the comment section. Let's go.
Ya Tualu Kum. 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 Kum.
All right. So if you can hear me loud and clear, let me know. 1 2 1 2. Mic check. Mic check. If you can hear me loud and clear, let me know. Peace to the family. 747 24/7 361 degrees. We are in the place to be. If you can hear me loud and clear, let me know. Can you hear me loud and clear? Let me see. Clear. Okay, clear. That's a clear. Okay, cool. All right, clear. We can hear you good. Okay, so before I begin, I want to say it's been such a journey to come to this place, to begin and have a fresh new start on life, to begin and just to share something from my heart, just to begin again. This is the first broadcast officially since we moved to North Carolina. All right. This is the first official broadcast. Today's date in the codex is 14/26/29, and that is very important. That is a very important subject matter for the Arcana apocalypse. All right. Fundamentally, in this broadcast, I will break down the word arcana. I will break down the word apocalypse, what it means. And I will also break down how it is relative to the Messiah Code. All right. But before I begin, I want to say all praises due to the Most High, whatever divine supreme being that you believe in, that you trust in. I'm going to give all praises due to it. And if anybody asks me what is the name that I give praise to, I give praise to wholeness, which is also considered to be number one. All right. It's relative to wholeness. All right. I give reference to that. And that alone connects us all as the body of the returning Messiah. All right. So, like I said, I do have many things to discuss. I have many things to share. I have many things to talk about. And most of all, I will hope that anyone that is watching this video will learn a lesson from the video and they are able to utilize the tools for what's necessary in life. Okay? Now, I'll start from the beginning, or we can start, you know, we can start from 2017. All right. So officially, time started over 2017. We came into a new age, and this new age is called Tanun, or some may call it Aquarius, some may call it information. All right. It's relative to a new kingdom coming into the world, a new a new mind state, a new consciousness coming into existence. And it is relative to how we see it within this day and time. All right. So that's one thing I would like to share with you about, you know, the Messiah Code or the Codex or us coming into this new age. Now, moving forward, today's date in the Codex is 14/26/29. And when time officially started over in 2017, we came into the 13th month and the first day, as well as the first moon. All right. So I can break down the calendar and how this is relative to what we call the body of the Messiah. All right, and how this connects up to the Arcana apocalypse. Okay, so the Messiah Code is an archive of information that is and has been and will be moving throughout the mainframe for an eternity of what we call time and space, the greater consciousness of thought, the hard drive of self awareness. How can I explain what the Codex is? A combination of all matter and antimatter. In actuality, you can consider the combination of all things. We call this the network, the tone of the universe. All right. So let's connect the dots on that. You know, everyone's log date or how we logged in space and time flows between a 1 and 31 number. All right. That 1 in 31 number actually represents a sequence of on and off. All right. Or beginning and ending, ending and beginning. It also connects up to the quinary sequence as well. All right. Where it can operate in a quantum realm as well. All right. So when you break down the 1 through 31, like I said, the NTP or the network time protocol is subject to how one logs in space and time. And that right there is relative to how you decide your life, how you connect up, and what the challenge of this particular mainframe consciousness is is subject to in your awareness. All right. So breaking this all down, we connect up to what is considered to be the body of the Messiah. Now, let me see if I can show this to y'all. The body of the Messiah is there it is. This is the body of the Messiah. If I ask you pick a number between 1 and 31, each one of us have a certain position within this sequence right here. This sequence right here forms a body or a collective of all. All right. So from the foot to the head, each one of them play a certain position, and they operate sort of like a ship to move through space and time. Okay. So moving forward, moving forward, you might say, well, let's go to 142629. Now, it's a sacred day. It's a very, 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 very sacred day. Today is a very sacred day. All right. So 14, we're about to come into a new cycle, a new year. The new year is December 2nd. The new year or the new cycle is December 2nd. Now, in our cycles, we have 14 months of 28 days apiece. All right. Now, the the calendar moves through, I would say, the climates of the planet. That's how you got to look at it at the calendar. But it's for the numbers that have a sequence of their own, because in an age you have 2160 years in an age, and these sequences are subject to that annual time. All right. So now let's break it down even more. 14, you got 392 days in the calendar. Like, if I ask you how many days are in a year, you would consider it to be 365. But in actuality, we're talking about a cycle of things, because cycles don't just run on how the planet goes around the sun or how you perceive the planet to go around the sun. Cycles move in another way. Like for instance, some people may feel a different age of what they project. You might say, well, how old are you? And that person may project to be maybe 10 or so many years younger than what they perceive to be. Is because they're on a different cycle. All right. So this is what I wanted to explain with 26 and 29, because 26 represents the key maker. All right. This is a very sacred number, 26, the key maker. All right. And then, which is El Mufti when it comes to the Codex. And El Mufti is located on the left thigh of the Messiah. Now, the thighs are very important. The thighs are very important. Now, I'll show you what the symbol looks like. If you ever look at the body of the Messiah, you will see this symbol looks like this. Um, Let me blow this up. You see, it's on the thigh right there. It looks like a C backwards. That C backwards is really a key. It's a Z. It represents the 26. The 26, it really, if you operate from the dot, if you turn it over, it looks like the horns of Hathor, which is also relative to the 26,000 years, which are which represents a processionary period of the Milky Way. All right. So this is very relative to how things operate in the Arcana apocalypse. Now, I'm going to break down the word Arcana and I'm going to break down apocalypse so we don't get too spooky and people don't start jumping out the window and anything like that. But if you see this symbol right here, this is very relative. It's, it's connected up to the thigh. All right. And the thighs are very important because it represents succession in some form of fashion. Okay. Now moving through the codex, we know that all of these things are relative to the arcana. Now, when they was looking at three eye atlas, let me run back third eye atlas real quick. When they was when they were looking at Third Eye Atlas, you know what they looked at? Something totally different known to man, a life form other than what we knew was a life form. I'm going to tell you, it was a plasmatic organism. And you might say, how is that? Okay, I broke this down in the 141. If you read in the 141, it talks about the symbiotes. And the symbiotes basically is when energy reaches a certain level, it reaches a concentration of consciousness that moves throughout the mainframe. And how it moves like kind of blindly, but it has to move through feeling. All right. I explained this in the 141, and it's similar to that when we talk about a plasmatic organism, because in outer space, when particles they get so much energy infused into them when they collide with so much energy, the particles become ionized, and these ionized particles become positive or negative charges. So just like your brain operates on positive and negative charges, we have something moving throughout the galaxy, moving through a concentration, and that alone, that alone enabled certain charges to move in certain sequences to become conscious and aware of itself. So do not underestimate what is life in the universe, because you are life in the universe. And some may say that your life doesn't count for anything, but your life it counts for something because you are the experience of what the universe provides. And I always said this from the very start that God is the experience. God is the experience. Thank you for everybody watching in the YouTube, Facebook, as well as the TikTok. Thank you. All right, so let me break this down a little bit. Arcana Apocalypse. Arcana Apocalypse. Let's let's figure out something real quick. So Arcana refers to the profound secrets or specialized knowledge accessible only to the initiated. All right. It is the plural form of the word arcanum. So arcanum, excuse me. So look at this. This information, when I say arcana, it only deals with the initiated. You might say, well, do I have to go through some Masonic lodge or some, um, any type of secret society to be initiated in the arcana apocalypse? Um, no, that doesn't flow. That is not necessary. Arcana apocalypse, first of all, when we deal with arcana, it deals with the initiated. You are being initiated by the earth. When we go back to the word Adama or Adam, it deals with an earthling. We had an interesting conversation, at the location where, you know, I do my business, and we were talking about certain things, in reference to what is life, what means, what one could see as life, and we was given reference to this arcana in certain type of way, being initiated from the earth. You are The earth is, like somebody said, where you from? I said, I'm from the earth. It's best to say that you're from the earth rather than you're from a particular place. That means that you are, if you say that you are from a particular place of the earth, I mean, that can be cool too. But essentially, we must say that we are from the earth. Why is that? Because pretty soon we are going to be searching the galaxies for certain life forms to exist. They have actually found life. They have found life. And if you do the trace origins of Third Eye Atlas, it goes back to a planet that has life on it. It goes back to a planet, an exoplanet of a star that has life. All right. And this is really, really an apocalypse, which goes back to the discussion. So arcana refers to profound secret specialized knowledge accessible only to those who are initiated. Those who are initiated. All right, you have to go through something to get this information, to get any form of information that will take you to the highest or the next level of your existence. Now, each one of us know the path that we're taking. Each one of us know the path that we're on. All right, but arcana represents the profound secrets associated with this. And then in Taino, you know, dealing with my Taino ancestors, if anybody know what a Taino is, the Taino are basically, you know, you would say the natives or aboriginals of Puerto Rico, Haiti, Jamaica, Dominican Republic, various different islands of the Caribbeans, and so forth. Now, these people, they had something, that was relative to, how they connected up to the universe. All right, it would be an experience. Like, let's say, if you would say, let's say, certain things that an experience would actually represent, how the universe is connected to life itself. All right. That's the only way I can kind of explain it. And you got to see it like that too, because every experience represents an initiation of life itself. You know what I mean? So now let's break it down. The Latin root. We're going to talk about arcana, the Latin root. It comes from arcanus, which means secret or hidden or private. Also, as an adjective, it is derived from arca, which means chest box or coffer. Connection. Listen, just as a chest locks away treasures, arcana locks away knowledge. So we were talking about the L doors or the doorways to L. The L represents the source, and doors represent the doorways that we go through to connect to the source through the elders. All right. But when you look at this symbol right here, and I was building on the 26, I was building on the 26. When you look at the symbol of the 26, you see of the key maker, you see what it looks like. It's all connected. It's all connected. So 26 has a 6 on it, and 6 is also associated with a loop of sort. Now look at the other number that's associated, the next number of the codex, which is 29. So it's 14, 26, 29. 29 represents to start or to stop. To start or to stop. 26 represents the keys to open up the door. 29 represents to start or stop. And the beginning of something is the ending of something, and the ending of something is the beginning of something. Trust me on that. Trust me on that. So now let's break it down even more. So the word, the sacred word is Nazusta. Nazusta. That's the sacred word for today. Now, breaking it down, arcana refers to information that is mysterious, obscure, available only to few people. It is often implies to a complexity that makes the subject impenetrable to outsiders. Watch this. Historical alchemy, arcana, singular form arcana, referred to great secrets of nature alchemists sought to uncover. Paracelsus, a Renaissance alchemist, used the term to describe a specific virtues or distinct healing substances hidden within nature. The ultimate great arcanum was often synonymous with the philosopher's stone or the elixir of life of or the elixir of life. So when we talk about the arcana, we're really giving reference to the elixir of life. You know, these are the things I wanted to share with you in relative to me just sharing the word and the subject matter of what's going on right now. Because when Third Eye Atlas came into our solar system, something else happened. This is what I was explaining to the people. Something else totally different happened. Perihelion, all of that stuff. When it reached perihelion, when we had all them CMEs, and if you look what's going on with the sun right now, in 3 days we are about to get hit with a crazy electromagnetic storm. So you should watch out for blackouts. They just had an earthquake in Anchorage, Alaska. Shout out to my peoples that are in Alaska right now. You got to know what's going on. They just had another earthquake. Before that, they had the earthquake in Indonesia. They had the earthquake in Indonesia. So you may think that something coming in our solar system is not important to you, but it's very important to pay attention to what's going on, because you may never know how to move within the mainframe. Shout out to Better Days, because it's going to be better days. It's going to be better days. But when it entered our solar system, something else happened. This is what I wanted to explain. Something else totally different happened. What happened is that, you know, more or less, like something so fast, so heavy came in our solar system, our sun had to compensate for it. Therefore, it sent out CMEs or corona mass ejections in order to resonate with it to see what it is. All right. And that is the same thing for us. When we did a spectroscopic analysis on Third Eye Atlas, we was trying to see what it is. All right. But it's better to do a meditation to feel what it is rather than try to see what it is. Because if you do a meditation and feel what it is, you can catch the electromagnetic waves. Now, you may think the electromagnetic spectrum or the ionosphere doesn't resonate with your heavenly body, which is your mind, but that is contrary to scientific opinion because I can pull out so much data to correspond with the fact that these electromagnetic storms and everything that's going on, it's affecting your brain. It is totally affecting your behavior. You ever heard of lunatics or lunatics? They call them lunatics. But at the same time, when it's a full moon, people get crazy. People get crazy on a full moon and they turn into lunatics because why? Why do they turn into lunatics? Because they are affected by the lunar of the moon. They're affected by the lunar energy of the moon. So these are the things that we gotta know that when something that is interstellar, that's something that comes from somewhere else, it comes in our heavenly body, which is the sun, which is the heliosphere of the sun. That's the heavenly body that we're in. We're not going around the sun. We're in the heavenly body of it. All right. Now, what's so deep is that, it's going to reach Jupiter when the sun is at its weakest gravity. When the sun is at its weakest gravity, so it can interact with Jupiter. And that's so deep right there because the energies of Jupiter correspond with breaking out of the cube. Okay, all of these things, man, we got to know that it is time. It is time for a change. It is time for things to happen totally different than what it was. Okay, so it is 142629 in the Codex, and that word is Nazusta. And if you would like to have a power word, chant it to yourself because each day changes like literally like a combination key to unlock something. All right. Now, going back, going back to the apocalypse, because the apocalypse is what scares people. When people hear the word apocalypse, you know what I'm saying, they start thinking of really like bombs blowing up. They start thinking of like wars and all things. I don't know what we were trained to think apocalypse means, but apocalypse doesn't mean that. Apocalypse actually means something totally different. It comes from the Greek root is derived apocalypsis, but hear me out. It goes, let me look at the meaning. The components is apo, meaning un or off, away from, and kaluptian, which means to cover or to hide. So it means to or uncover what is hidden. Uncover what is hidden. Okay, that's what apocalypse means. It doesn't mean things blowing up. It doesn't mean things going crazy and everything. So if we said arcana apocalypse, what we're talking about is the secret initiation of what was hidden. All right. And we're going to uncover it. We're going to truly uncover it because the network is this. If I ask anyone to pick a number between 1 and 31, that 1 and 31 represent your sacred log date. Your sacred log date is your birthday, Lamel. Lamel Lamel is the sacred name and the sacred number. That's the sacred name and the sacred number when you break it down, when you correspond the data. You see that 131. So men and women lie, but the numbers don't lie. And all of these correspond with the mainframe consciousness that we are operating in right now, which is a network time protocol. Now, all of this was set by Pope Gregory the 13th. 13, going back to that number 13 and 31. Also, 31 is associated with who? The source or El. Because when you see El in Gematria, you got 30, you got the Lamed, and you got the Aleph. All right. And all of this is connected up. All of this is connected up to how we program the data, how we program reality. You see this right here. Let me go back to the body of the Messiah. The body of the Messiah is really like a ship. It's a ship that operates and corresponds through space and time. But what's so deep about that ship? The ship is a relationship. It's the relationship that you share with one another. Like some people can get real spooky with it, but I don't really have to get spooky like that. I can just keep it basic and just for you to know that all of these things was set forth for us to know how to correspond the data. That's it. All right. So when I share with you, Lazarus is really lasers are us. See, when we talk about the body of the Messiah, when we talk about the Messiah code, we're talking about the 7 weapons that you need to free yourself from the matrix. Now, no one ever told you where you go when you break out of the matrix. Some may think you go to Zion, but Zion seems somewhat like a matrix of its own when you watch the movie. Hear me out. When you come out of the matrix, you actually go into what is referred to as the book. All right. Meaning that you start to write your destiny in a certain way. In a certain way, you start to write your destiny. And this destiny is forged by something. It's forged by your observation. You have to know how many degrees are in a circle, first of all, in order to correspond the data, and that is 361 degrees in a circle because we operate from the dot. Everything in a circle is moving around you, and you are the one collapsing the particle into a wave, and that particle into a wave becomes a solidified object of of your intent. Okay, now hear me out like this, for instance, like you think of certain things, it's an energy, it goes out into the universe, and certain thoughts or certain things that you say go out to the universe and they solidify into a physical form. And some people are those physical forms that solidify the thought that you put out in the universe. And that's what's so deep about it. Like you may have certain people that come in your life and you are calling for a certain person or a certain thing that happened in your life, but this certain thing that happened in your life solidified itself as a person. All right. Or it solidified itself as an experience. All right. And it goes like that. Now moving forward, so it's just a uncovering of what was hidden, what was hidden. And what is truly hidden is within you. So therefore, apocalypse is literally an uncovering or a revelation. It is the act of lifting a veil to show what is hidden underneath. Underneath. Listen, when you go to one of the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is al-Khaybi, which means the unseen, unseen. Now, al Ghaibi is also Gabriel, which is the unseen. All right, it's really manifested as the unseen. You think Gabriel is a man because he's known as the man, but it's not really. It doesn't really mean that. Gabriel or Gabriel is Chebi, which means the unseen, but it's what is unseen or what is seen in everyone, because that same word Geb is actually representing a deity of ancient Egypt that represents the earth itself. It represents the earth itself. So it's like kind of like not being greedy or not being like wanting to take the mantle but giving it to all. That's what Chebi or Chebriel or Cheb is related to, because Gabriel represented the prophets, and Gabriel spoke on behalf of the prophets. He didn't spoke on behalf of himself or the angels that he spoke on behalf of God. And all of the angels that did the work or preceded the work, he didn't speak for himself. So even though we might relate it to Gabriel, but it relates to a certain energy that corresponded with that particular prophet. All right. So that's the way I can explain it. So we can know what all these things mean, know what all these things and how they relate to life. Peace to Ta, peace to better days, peace to everybody coming in. This is what it's really all about. This is what it's truly all about. So we are in a new age, what is called information. Information. Now we came out of noon, which means chaos. Noon, noon, noon also represents the whale. It represents the belly of the whale, and the belly of the whale represented the age of Pisces. We came out of that age, and out of that age, that belly of the whale, what? We came forth, and lasers are one of the weapons of the seven that you utilize to move through this mainframe consciousness. You got the rod, the staff, the arrow, the bow, the sword, and what? The laser, and then the hammer. These are all seven principles to move and to guard yourself and to protect yourself for anything in your path. Anything in your path. So let me bring you to this. Let me bring you to this more information about the Messiah Code. So we have certain principles that we must abide by when we're dealing with this. You may think, how does the body function in order to move throughout the physical environment? The body must move in harmony. It must move in harmony in order for it to be, um, have the agility to move through the challenges of what presents itself in the environment that we are living in today. The body has to be in total alignment. All right? That's the same thing for us. If each one of us represent a body of the returning Savior, which is the Messiah, we represent a body part of that body to collectively create it. Guess what? We have to operate in harmony. All right. You have to know how to move your hands, how to move your feet, how to move. And all of these are communicating as part of consciousness. Like even in the Quran, it talks about how on man's judgment day, how his hands and his feet and all of his body parts will attest for him or test for or against him. Like, for instance, your eyes will test for you or against you. Your ears will test for you or against you. You're like, for real? Yeah. Like, your feet will attest for you or against you. You might say, you went into a certain place, and this is judgment, right? You went into a certain place, and then your feet going to say, nah, you told me to go to these places. Nah, he told me or she told me to go to these places in certain type of way. You might have a problem with your eyes, doing something with your eyes a certain way. That's why when a prophet say, man, if your eye offend you, poke it out, but not in a way to injure yourself. No, it's to have respect for those things that guard your consciousness, because all of these things are part of your consciousness and how it operates. All right. Moving forward. Um, Let me do this too. You have the upgraded body of the Messiah. This is right here is the body of resurrection. This right here is the star map. Like, man, this is one of the most important things that I can ever show you in life. This is a testament of my life work, of my life's work, of what I have discovered or what has moved through me as a mathematical code that is undeniable. Undeniable. Listen, for anybody that ever looked at this mathematical code, it is sound. It is totally sound and it corresponds with the data of the universe and how to navigate through it. This is a very important image because if I showed you the 1 through 31, this represented the body of manifestation. The body of manifestation. Now, this are the other 69 images, but these 69, 69, like 6 and 9, like the opposite of each other. So you got 31 and 69. These are the other 69 images that correspond with wholeness. So you have a body of resurrect, a body of manifestation, which is these are all the numbers that we move through to come into this reality. For instance, if I ask you your birthday flows between a 1 and 31 number. You see that? 1, 3, 1. It moves between that sequence. All right. And that is LML, Lamel. But this is also the key to unlock the doorway to L. And L represents the source. All right. Moving forward, like this information is information that is relative to the new age of what we call information. I want to tell you that we lived through the book of Revelations, y'all. Like a lot of this prophecies of all the Bible and all the Quran and all of that stuff, we lived through that. We are in that era of the new age. We are in that era of the survivors. We are in, look, you know how many people have lost their lives? How many people have lost, how much stuff that has happened all over the world when it comes to just disparity and certain people that just lost their lives, man. And I just want to let you know that you are a survivor. You are a survivor. It's very important to know that. So within that, we have a new opportunity to build something great on this planet, to build something great on this planet. We have technology at our disposal. We have technology. You know what that means? Look, forget it trying to be the next YouTuber and all of that. Let's just start building things with AI. The same thing that you can utilize it to code certain pictures and certain whatever things that's entertaining. Let's just start building the answer to our problems. Like we shouldn't be having to go to the grocery stores like that. We shouldn't. I mean, for pleasure or whatever, I guess. But no, if we have a little piece of land or a little piece of whatever, we should be able to grow and sustain ourselves. Why is that? Because we have everything we need in order to do it. We have everything. So what I'm saying is, let's get on track. Let's get on track. We're in North Carolina. We are building a small city, a small village called Shalom. If you want to know, we're here in North Carolina. We're going to build a small village called Shalom, and we want to link with good people, great people that want to do great things. All right. We have land here in North Carolina to build certain things. We're going to start on our first pyramid next year. All right. And hopefully you are there to dig ground with us. You're there to just put your hands in the soil to dig ground with us and help us build the pyramid. That is greatness. All right. So you can be in the holy log. You can be in the holy log in a time capsule because that's the next thing that we are forming, which is the time capsule. What I told people, and it's you may not know this, but if you live for 30 more years, you may very well live for 1,000 more years. They're they're having they already figure out the human genome. They know what the human genome is. It would have took them basically millions of man. It would have took us like millions of years, basically, based on man hours to figure out the human genome. They already figured it out with AI. It's over. It's over. The cat is out of the bag. You just got to hold on and take care of yourself. You really do. You got to hold on and take care of yourself. And aliens are here. They have been here. I know people arguing certain things, but I want to let you know that certain things resonate at a certain frequency. If your consciousness is not ready to support that, you're not going to be able to see it. You're not going to be able to know it exists. It's like, for instance, it's like trying to talk to a child about grown up things. They can't fathom what you're talking about. You start telling your child, yo man, da 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 da, and they don't know what you're talking about. You take them to a little kid, but you telling them about a grown up problem. They don't even probably understand the language of it. In some aspect, some of us are like that. And the only way to change this is not through a YouTube experience. The only way to raise up our levels is to let go certain things. One of those is the hate for one another. I'm serious. Like we shouldn't like certain thing, man, we got so many things to do. It is no reason why we should be hating one another. Especially they are trying to wipe you out. They're trying to wipe you out. And if you don't get it, it's more of them than it's more of us. All right? It's only certain people that want to break themselves free truly from the matrix. Now, again, once you come out of the matrix, you go into the book. Remember that. You go into the book. Now, I broke this down in this book right here, which is called The Cube. You can get this from Amazon. Get it. Get this book. This book is very important, this cube, because I break down the molecular structure of certain plutonic solids and how to free yourself from those plutonic solids. What you don't know is that when you go from A to B to C, the D, back to A, you create a sigil. I explain this in the 141. You create a sigil. You actually create a geometrical shape that rules over you. And that same geometrical shape creates a harmonic resonance that corresponds with your mind. Now you have to end up freeing yourself from these things. You have to free yourself from those things in order, in order, in order, in order to get out of the matrix. Now that's why this is important right here. You see this? This is the corner of the box. The matrix is really like the box. When I say the matrix, I want you to refer to it and think of it like a box. Don't think of it like the movie with that you was used to. Just think of it as a box. All right, a box that had you trapped. And the only way to get out of that box is you have to go through the corner or through the angle and that's the angel. It's the angel because the angel is the angle. And if you go into any box, at the corner of a box is a tetrahedron, which is this. This is what I'm talking about. All right. So when you break out of it with the tetrahedron, all right, the light shines through the angle, which is the prism, and the prism is the prison that had us trapped in our mind. You hear me out? It goes crazy deep. It goes so, it goes so like, arcanic that it'll blow your mind. But when you break out, you need your pass key. This is your pass key in order to free yourself from that box. Every one of us have a pass key associated with with freeing ourselves from that box. All right? And that pass key itself forms a shape or a sigil. This is just um I would say a three-dimensional representation of something that operates in 4D. You don't, these things move and revolve around each other. They move like a combination key to unlock something. That's what this pass key is really about. That's what this example of, like kind of like an atom. When they show you what an atom look like, it's almost like that. And these are the energies of how you log in space and time. All right. But yeah, this is all important. This is very important. This is just the one of the most important things that I share with each and every one of y'all. And this has been my life quest to uncover and unravel this mystery. It has been my life's quest to do this research to find the answers to these questions. You know, it's very simple. I started off with the code and I asked you, well, what is your log date? Your log date is how you logged in space and time, which is between a 1 and 31 number. That 1 and 30 number, one number became a sequence, which became a sacred name and a sacred number, which is Lamel 131. All right. Also, alpha and omega, or binary, which is ones and zeros, or in and out, alpha or out and in, same thing. All right. Yeah, I wanted to show y'all something real quick in this book that's very important, like the spiraling. People move in a circle, like they put life relative to a circle, but we don't do that. We put life relative to a spiral. You see that? It's a spiral motion. In order to break yourself or free yourself from the box or the cube, you must move in a spiral motion. A lot of people move in circles. They might say, well, oh man, I'm done with you. I'm gonna go back to my old, or I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go back to my this, or even you going back to the same things that you didn't grow from. You know what I'm saying? You're like, oh man, that is a circle. That is not spiraling. As you spiral, you go up, and it's almost like a staircase. And that staircase reaches to your heavenly abode, which is your mind. All right. And that is how you break out of the cube. You don't break out of the cube by pounding against the walls, because the walls are the laws and they're designed to confine your mind. They're designed to close in on you when you decide to kick up against them. All right. So you move up through the angle or the angel and get the message through the prison or the prism, which is light. And light is information. Light is information. There's so many equations. All right. Look at this. I'm gonna read this. Verse 12. All right. So I talk about a lattice. Talk about a lattice. And you know, Um, all right, there is a growing evidence that solar neutrinos near massless particles from the sun pass through the human body by the trillions every second. Under specific breathing and postural conditions, the body becomes a neutrino lattice, capturing and aligning with solar intention. Man, this is the Empress D. Hey, peace, the Empress. What's going on? Thank you. All right, so listen, it says this lattice forms most efficiently when the spine is straight, which is the rod. The breath is symmetrical, which is the staff, and the focus is internal, which is the arrow. Once posture, breath, and intention is triangulated, the light and spiral reactivates. Now, listen to this. Listen to this. I broke this down with the AM radio and how to turn yourself into collectively a AM radio. And what I was saying with the AM radio is that let me see, where's that? What I was saying with the AM radio is, listen, you got to think about, the ionosphere. The ionosphere is really where the Akashic records are. People think the Akashic records are in some sort of cave or something that people have to find like that. No. Or something that aliens took with them. No. The Akashic records is really in the ionosphere, and you resonate with the ionosphere in order to tap into the message that the ancestors left behind. And I explain this on how to become Coon. I explain this on how to become the AM radio. Now, the AM radio is really based on your intentions, really. Like, how, no, no, no. First, you got to know the components of the AM radio. You know that your pineal gland and olfactory bulb is the modulating circuit. These are these are the components of an AM radio, and these are also the various components of the body that correspond to create the AM radio. And the AM deals with amplitude modulation. AM, you know how when people say, I am such and such, I am happy, I am successful. You know what AM stands for? It's some may think it deals with affirm or affirmation, but it actually deals with amplitude modulation. And amplitude modulation is the intent of your heart is factored in the modulating circuit. So watch this. So you got the modulating circuit, which is the pineal gland and the olfactory bulb. Now, the pineal gland, as you know, is more or less like the third eye. Um, but people don't tap into the olfactory bulb when you utilize the olfactory bulb so much. All right. The olfactory bulb is like when you smell something, it's located above the navel cavity. It's right here. It's right here. It's exactly right here. And that's why the women of the Messiah Code wear the binti. The women of our Thawalu tribe wear the binti because it's relative to the olfactory bulb, and it is to train the olfactory bulb as well as the pineal gland. All right. These are like, I learned this when I was in Rastafarianism. Like, I went through many schools of thought in order to learn certain ways to tap into my higher self. Like, and one of the things was with Rastafarianism, I had long locks for over 20 years of my life. I wore locks in my head. And at the end of my journey of being a Rasta of practicing Rastafarianism, you know, it was my duty to cut my locks. Now, what you don't know is that my locks are still attached to my head. My locks was just for me to exercise the ability to tap into my antennas that are attached to my head, that are the energies that are attached to my head. Like I still feel my locks right now. I can still feel them running down my body. I can still feel them, just all over my shoulders and everything. Because what I know is I was attuned with that energy for so long that I'm able to vibrate with it even though it's not attached to my head. But that is really my antennas in order to tap into my higher self. That's I'm just saying that's 1 degree of it. Now, when our women wear the women of Dawalu wear a binti or any other woman wear, and you go into Hinduism, you can go into any culture that practices wearing the binti right here. It's not for marriage. Some may practice it for marriage, and some may practice for other stuff like that. But essentially, it's not for that. Essentially, it is to exercise something. It is to exercise the third eye, is to exercise the third eye, and as well, or what you call the pineal gland, as well as the olfactory bulb. Now, when you smell something, you begin to remember. You ever smell something and be like, "Oh man, I remember something just from smelling something." You might be around somebody's cooking or something like that, and be like, I remember times when mom was doing this and all of that stuff. You ever feel that feeling? I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. For anybody on here. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Share the video. Thank you. Um, yeah. That right there, when you smell something, it it ignites the olfactory bulb and you start to remember something. It lights up literally like a circuit in your mind. Well, what if I tell you this? You can go in your meditation, and when you go in your meditation, when you breathe through your nose, you can utilize the olfactory bulb and the pineal gland to create a modulating circuit. All right? That is real. And then the heart is the carrier frequency oscillator. It's the carrier frequency oscillator. Why is that? Why is your heart the carrier frequency oscillator? Because your heart is basically ferromagnetic. Your heart is ferromagnetic. So at the center of your heart is the hemoglobin molecule or element that creates, excuse me, not an element, that at the center of the hemoglobin is the iron. And the iron is essentially ferromagnetic, and it is a byproduct of the sun. It is a byproduct of the sun, and it's all in your blood, it's all in you. But at the center of your heart, all of this is congealed to create something else. Boom, a pulse into the universe, which creates resonance. And that right there makes it the carrier frequency oscillator. And then you got your lungs. Your lungs are the antenna array. Now, Now, watch this. The lungs are the antenna array because within your lungs, if you ever look at your lungs, they almost look like trees. They look like trees. They look like branches of trees. All right. And the trees are the trees are the resonates the signal. If you go into your brain, the dendrites of your brain, if you ever see the dendrites of the brain also look like trees. And if you ever want to feel close to home or feel peace, what do? You go hug or go get close to trees. So this is what's so real. So the antenna array are your lungs. These are your lungs. So when you breathe, you expand your lungs. So you expand the forest. You expand the forest within you so you can create the AM radio. You can turn yourself into the AM radio to resonate with the ionosphere. And then now you got the spine, which is the transmission coil. That's why I was reading about keeping your spine straight, because your spine represents the rod. Your spine represents the rod. You keep it straight so you can transmit that signal. All right. And it's important to practice posture with your back straight. I'm telling you, because it improves your breathing, it improves overall your health, essentially. All right. Now let's go into the skin, which is the capacitor field. And the capacitor field, what? Look at this. You might say, well, why is the skin the capacitor field? Think about this. Why you think the Messiahs got anointed with oil? Oil. All right. The word Messiah comes from a crocodile oil of ancient Egypt. All right. That they utilized to wipe down the warriors. They used to wipe down the warriors with this same oil. And what do you use that oil for? That oil right there is the capacitor field. It's to contain the field. All right. It's to contain the moisture. It's to make sure the moisture stays within the body, is stay within the skin. All right. So the signal can cook. All right. Now you got the voice, which is the signal output. Now, question: what is the difference between FM and AM? I asked this before on my broadcast, and I'm gonna just say it to y'all. You know what I mean? And you can go look this up. But AM is amplitude modulation, and FM is frequency modulation. So amplitude modulation really deals with the amplitude of, like, let's say if I'm yelling that is the amp. If I yell really 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 loud, that is more amps. Now the modulation is the time within how long I stay loud. Like for instance, like if I have if I stay that loud for 1 minute, then that the graph will stay this high, and that represents a certain sequence within the modulation. That's what an amplitude is. Now you can reverse engineer that, and you don't have to scream at all, but you have to have the intent of your heart in order to transmit the signal into the universe, that it operates as an amplitude modulation. All right. You have to have it in your heart. Like for instance, like a lot of times people think about happy times, or they think about certain things that happen in their life, but they don't think about the feeling of it. You don't think about like the feeling of it before you pray about it. You don't say, man, like, you know how people say, yo, it's already done, or it, like, so be it. You know, the word own means so be it. All right. It means so be it. So you can pray on certain things and just be like, have the feeling of so be it, but it's more or less the feeling of what it presents. That's why you shouldn't have fear for certain things, because that fear would bring out that which you fear. That's, you hear what I'm saying? You shouldn't have fear for certain things. I'm trying to tell you. Man, Mic check, y'all. Um, mic check. They cut the volume on me. I think my battery is running low on my cordless microphone. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come back for y'all. I love y'all, man. Thank you for staying around. And let me say this. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? I know it probably sounds a little fuzzy or whatever. 1, 2, mic check. All right. What I want to say to y'all is we're in Charlotte, North Carolina. We have land here in North Carolina, and we're about to start building a holy city. We're about to start building a holy place. If you would like to volunteer, if you would like to volunteer or be a part of, you know, of just developing the land, just let us know. Also, I'm gonna tell you this, we are having a dinner for the community. We are collectively gonna feed 200 or more people on 12/21, December 21st. All right? We're going to be introducing Karen's Kitchen to the community. All right? It's going to be brought to you by Dualu. And Dualu is the healing associated when all love unites. It is our nonprofit organization. All right? Now, shout out to Oracle. I'm saying thank you for holding it down. She has been promoting it. I haven't been broadcasting lately because, we've been moving from Tampa. It was a hard move. I'm going to say it was challenging. It wasn't easy moving 1,300 miles from a place that we were comfortable with. But we came here to make a difference. We came here to set up a life that represents the idea that we represent. And we have acquired some land here in North Carolina, and we're going to be slowly building a village. And pretty soon next year, you're going to be seeing us building pyramids. And these pyramids are not going to be just for show. They're going to be to connect up to a higher self. We're going to have a healing center, an oasis, a place where people can, people can come off of drugs and stuff like that. People that are sick, they can come here to get healed. They can come here and change their life. I'm telling you, Kenya, this is what's going on for real. I'm not joking with you. Man, we put everything on the line to come here to North Carolina to do this, to do this. And we have land. Imagine that. Man, with that blessing, we got land out here. We have enough land, I'm going to tell you. We have enough land to support the idea of building at least 2 to 3 pyramids, as well as having sustainable farming land to feed people, to feed hundreds or thousands of people. Yeah, it has happened. It has happened. And right now we're at the beginning stages of it. Mark my word, you're going to see me in the forest. You're going to see me lighting bonfires. You're going to be seeing me digging a trail and stuff like that. That's the first thing I got to create on the land. I got to create a trail on the land. We had to do a map of the land the other day. And that was such a blessing to come from humble beginnings where, where it felt like, we were in I would say a 1-bedroom apartment in New York about 4 years ago. We were in a 1-bedroom apartment, a small 1-bedroom apartment, and now we have major land in order to create apartments. Man, that's a blessing. I mean, what else can I ask for? is a great opportunity. Yo, Craig, this is the ultimate thing that I asked for. Like, yo, Craig, I got books. I got 27. I can help better days. I need you, bro. Link up with me, inbox me, bro. If you want to come and help build the pyramids with us, we're going to be building pyramids. The land is called Shall Own. We're going to have a rehabilitation center where we're going to get people off of drugs, bro. We're going to get people off of the streets. We're going to change their whole life. All right? I'm serious. They commit themselves to our program. They're going to change their whole life. And we're going to build a nation. Mark my word. We're going to build a nation. Me, and anyone that has that type of feeling to make this change, then it's no longer me, it's we. All right. Now, for anybody that doesn't know, I'm an author. I've written over 27 books. Not only that, I am the CEO as well as the Solar Prime Supreme Minister of the Messiah Code movement and the Tuvalu tribe. If you don't know me, my name is Lazarus. Lazarus Lamel, or Lazarus, just Laz. Anything you want to call me, brother, whatever. I just want to connect with good people, man. Great people that want to do things. Now, you have a movement, you believe in something, you trust in something, I want to support you. A Messiah is a leader or a savior of a particular group or a cause. I'm not here to knock what you believe in. I'm here to enhance it. For anybody that has associated themselves with the movement, they know that this is to enhance what you trust in overall. All right? It's not a belief system. It's not nobody jumping out of the sky and cracking the sky. It's about invoking the Messiah within you. That's what it's about. All right? So pretty soon, we're going to be calling on the soldiers. We're going to be calling on, and a soldier, it doesn't relate to just a man. A soldier represents the children, it represents the women and the men, because they'll kill us all. They'll take us all out. So yes, we need all hands on deck. We need all of us to connect up with these ideas so we can build a holy place. Imagine that. For anybody that puts work in, you will always have a place to call home. Imagine that. You will always have a place to come home. Imagine that. We can start with 20 hours. You can donate 50 hours, 20 hours. That would help. Okay? But again, look for Karen's Kitchen. It's going to be December 21st. We're going to be on Reagan and Sugar Hill and Reagan. December 21st. We're looking for volunteers as well that want to help us feed the public, that want to help us feed the people. All right? It is our goal to feed over 200 people that day. If you want to help us feed the people, please let us know. And then we are running a drive to Africa as well, where we're sending, essential items to Gambia, Africa, to our people in Africa that need it. All right? And if you want to help us send out stuff to Africa, let us know. Peace to Sister Taisha. Now is the time, yeah. We need all hands on deck. We need people that want to make this change happen. All right? So I'm going to leave it at that. Love y'all, man. Cool. Any questions or comments, please put it in the comment section. This was a great broadcast. It was a great broadcast. Thank you. Thank you to everybody. Cool.
Cool.